Northern Ireland was founded in a storm of violent sectarianism and draconian oppression of the Irish Catholic population. Founded in 1921, it was fueled and ruled by extreme bigotry and militant sectarianism. Belfast was the most violent place during the Irish Revolution, with the majority of violence being attacks on Irish civilians and their homes. This was condoned by the Unionist leadership. Next year marks the 100th year anniversary of Northern Ireland. Has much changed? In June 2020, there were 95 sectarian incidents recorded by the police. However, in recent years, racist attacks are also becoming more of an issue. In the same, there were 107 racially motivated incidents recorded. These statistics only represent the number of incidents that were actually being reported. Northern Ireland, our wee country.
So my name is Alicia and I am 17 and I live in West Belfast. I've lived here like all my life and I'm half Irish and half Tanzanian. I've always been the only black girl in my school. Even though like I've changed schools now, I'm still the only black girl in my whole year group actually. So it's very isolating sometimes just because there's nobody that like looks like me and nobody that I can kind of like connect with in a sense of like people who can understand like my experiences, not even just with racism but just like feeling like an outsider in a lot of social interactions and stuff like that. There's a lot of racism that happens here. I've never met or spoken to someone who isn't white that has said that they've never experienced racism. Everyone who is not white in Belfast has experienced something, whether it's a verbal or physical harassment or even just microaggressions. We've all like had situations where we have felt uncomfortable just because of what we look like or our ethnic backgrounds. There's so much that needs to be addressed.
I feel like people like to, like I've seen some comments and stuff on Facebook, people are like, we have enough going on here, we remember the Troubles, like, which obviously, yes, needs to be taken into consideration. But I feel like everyone thinks it's like they take racism and try and make like green versus orange whenever it's not about that's like everybody versus racist. It doesn't have to be a divisive issue. Like you can be whoever you want to be and still be anti-racist. And I feel like it would be a great thing for the country to actually overcome racism and say that they could do that. But I don't think it's surprising that it's not, or it's surpassed sectarian crimes. I think people will be shocked to hear that, because they just think that it is so sectarian, but I think they kind of go hand in hand. It's just that ignorance and just your lack of tolerance to other people. But yeah, I just think it's nuts, but people definitely just need to change. And I think people have started trying to kind of wisen up a little bit. I would just say, I think important is the death of Noah Donoghue in Belfast, and just the lack of media attention towards that was just ridiculous. And like, even whenever, I don't like speculating too much on it because it's such a, sensitive issue, but whenever like he went missing and no police reports were even saying that he was black, it was just a child, and I felt like people were almost too afraid to say stuff like that about him. And then now you have Stephen Nolan going down to houses of children in the Holy Lands complaining, and yet he didn't cover it once.
And it's a weird experience, like not seeing somebody who looks like you for a long time. And I guess for me, being outside of Belfast, where there's not a lot of Black people, like you're not guaranteed to see another Black person every day when you go out. I have to brace myself. So like I have my hair in like an Afro puff right now, but if I wore my natural hair the way that it is and how it grows out of my head just out, oh my gosh, like I would have to brace myself for the attention and the comments and the stares. And like, sometimes you don't have the energy for that every day, like, I also say this to my friend, she's actually Ugandan. And I just say like, we're walking art. Like, this is what we bring to the table, sometimes it can be just so annoying, but just remembering that, keeping that at the forefront of my mind is something that I try to do.
It's just such a uncomfortable time right now to be Black in this country. With everything going on, I wouldn't say that I have anxiety, but I do always feel a certain type of social anxiety when I go to places because I know that I am going to have to deal with the fact that I am Black. Even though people have faced racism in this country more severe than I have, there's no doubt about that. It just leaves you with so much like fear and your ignorance and your lack of education, even though partially it's not your fault, it's still something that we're struggling with, and it would help your Black friends so much to be able to acknowledge that.
Northern Ireland, our wee country. But whose wee country is it though? Is it my wee country? Does my skin say that I don't belong? Racist attacks here have outnumbered sectarian attacks in recent year, yet 83% of reported incidents went ignored. There is so much emphasis on orange versus green, but what about you versus me? We took to the streets of Belfast on June 3rd to let the story of George Floyd be heard. We were tarnished by the media, but justice was on the line. Socially distanced, we raised our fists for our community worldwide. Belfast may be small, but we won't be left behind. Dubbed the hate capital of Europe, Northern Ireland needs to change. We need to come together no matter how strange present times are. Raise your fists, stand tall, tell your story. Equality for all.